You know, when it comes to conservation and trying to help the resource, I think our minds collectively always think about the wild turkey first, because that's really how Drury Outdoors got its start. I've got my turkey hat on today, and we're talking about trapping, but in reality, our whole goal with the trapping and the efforts we put into the farms is to help those poults and to help that survival and reduce that nest predation. There's a lot of other things that go into it in terms of habitat, fire burning, food plots, all that different stuff, but trapping may be one of the things that we've done that has changed the game for us most. We've had some great hatches the last few years, and we credit it to trying to keep those nest predators in check.
Well, Darren and I are headed out to go check the trap lines this morning. We've been trapping coons here the full month of February. It seems like these warmer nights have been a lot better than the colder nights that we had early February. It's the opposite of deer season. These warm-ups do a little bit better on these coons than the colder nights. So first spot we're going to go is this old house. Always had great luck there. It's basically an old rundown house. Foundation has fallen in. They got everything they need. They got creek, they got cover, and they got food. So it's been a great spot over the years. We're going to hit that spot first.
I always try and find these coon runs. You know, it's definitely not a deer trail. They just got it real beat down, and it goes right to this house coming out of the creek down below. But like I say, I always try and find these coon runs. If you can't, don't mean they're not there, but if you do find them, one thing's for sure, there's a lot of coon traffic going to and from the creek to this old house. So I always try and set just off of that, and have had great success in the past years. Another thing that we've noticed with coons is they're not as leery of human scent as like an old coyote. You definitely wouldn't want to touch your traps without gloves on if you're setting a coyote set, but these coons don't seem to, it doesn't seem to bother them. We set traps and catch them the next morning all the time. So like I said, if you want to be real careful, you'd throw some rubber gloves on, but it'd take a lot of rubber gloves on and off to do all these coon sets. But well, this is the second set that we put here around this old house. We got one on the back side on the back door, and there's another huge coon run right here coming into the front door. Hopefully they work out here in the next day or two. We'll keep our fingers crossed. We'll have a coon in this trap here soon.
All right, well, no luck at the house. Like I said, it was a little warmer last night, so it might take a couple nights here to get these coons rolling again. But the next spot has been my little honey hole. I've had great success there this year. Almost have a coon there almost every night. Hopefully it comes through again for us here this morning.
Well. It's a creek edge setup leading out to a cornfield, and we had a double on it. Another little tip that we like to do is whenever we go to dispatch them, it had the best luck shooting them through the lungs, and doesn't leave as much blood everywhere in your trap setup. Quick and easy, and not as much blood.
This segment of DoD TV is brought to you by Cold Steel, home of the ultimate hunter, the perfect outdoorsman's blade that also makes an excellent everyday carry knife. Practical, functional, and incredibly capable. For more info, visit coldsteel.com today.
Well, I guess not a bad morning on the trap line. We only had 2. It was a little cooler last night. Today's highs in the mid 60s, so maybe tomorrow will be better. Darren's gonna hop in with Perry and go on his trap line in the morning. Low numbers on the traps ain't all a bad thing, because maybe we're working on those numbers. We caught over 200 last year, and we're up around that 50-60 mark this year. So keep our fingers crossed that we're gonna help these poults out, and all the pheasant babies and quail babies and turkey babies. We're just trying to help them all with these nest predators, whether it be possums, skunks, or raccoons. We'll take all we can get. Just like I say, save all those poults, because we sure love our turkeys.
Toxie Hayes said something to me a couple years ago. He said, trapping is like mowing the lawn. You've got to do it consistently and do it year round. And I think the most important trapping you can do is leading into the turkey season. So that's why we like to take advantage of our seasons in Iowa and Missouri that allow us to trap just ahead of the turkey season. Wade and Perry are out there doing their best. We're going to mow that grass and try to give those hens every opportunity they can to succeed.
Well, as you guys saw, Darren went with Wade yesterday to run his trap line. Hopefully you guys learned something and enjoyed that. Darren just got here this morning. We're gonna go run my trap line and hopefully have some luck, hopefully bring you guys some tips and hopefully some dead coons. There's one right there, right next to the pond. All right. All right, well, you guys can see we just had a coon right here on the bank of the pond. There's an overflow pipe for the pond that's going through the dam. And most of the time these coons, if the water's low, they will use that overflow pipe to get up to the pond. And that's exactly where we had this coon. Waterways, whether it's a creek, a pond like here, they're always very coon prominent. A large amount of coons use these areas for feeding and for drinking, I think. This is kind of a unique spot, much different than the spot we were just at with the pond. This is a lot different setup. We're gonna show you guys the traps. They're a little bit different too. Well, as you guys can see, there's an old root stump in this creek that's been lodged under the ground. And these are a little bit different setups. I've got cable leads on these traps with looped ends, because if you use a regular foot plate or a bullet dog driver for your anchors, which I'll show you these in my trapping box, it's hard to get a bite if you're driving into sand or a creek bank, mud. I think there's a lot of people that have access to trap a creek, and a foot plate or a bullet dog on a trap is not gonna get a good anchor point to be able to trap right next to the water here. So this is the solution for that. And I'll show you guys, I got another one across the creek. You can see the trap there, and then the looped end is just around this piece of driftwood. That's real solid. Not gonna pull out, but I mean, you can see coon tracks right next to this creek going up and down it. And just another tip or trick to be able to trap right here next to the water and not need a foot plate or a bullet driver, and be able to get a good anchor and catch coons. Road pipe. I'm gonna get out and show you guys a little spot. If you're out looking to set coon traps and you're like, well, I don't know where to go. Well, one major thing we have here is cattle pasture. So the farmers are feeding cattle, they're spreading manure, and the coons are attracted to both of those things. They go out in the pasture and feed on bugs, whatever is in the manure. They also go up and feed in the cattle feed, you know, whether that's corn or hay or whatever they're putting out for them. But the coons are always into something. You guys can see this little trail, if you will, going up and over. There's actually a coon track right there. A lot of times you'll see coons come up and they'll go for a bathroom break on the top of the pipe, and then they'll roll down the edge, and they'll either follow that ditch water line all the way to where they want to go, or right here their run goes into this cattle pasture, and you can see they've recently spread manure right here. So I'm assuming those coons are coming from the creek we just were at and caught the coon, coming this way, going into the cattle pasture to mess with the manure or whatever they're feeding the cattle. So if you're out looking for a spot to catch a coon, a road pipe next to a cattle pasture, typically always end you up with a ringtail and a trap. Well, as you guys just saw, we finished up running traps. And the last year we really started hitting them hard. Wade and I trapped over 100 coons. We've seen the direct reflection of those 200 coons collectively between Wade and I dead to this year. Our traps don't have the numbers in them. We don't get the trail cam pictures of coons that we used to get, but we are getting trail cam pictures more of turkeys. Our poult numbers were really good this year. We've got good gobbler groups this year. I think there's a direct correlation of the coons going down and those turkey numbers going up. I've been seeing a lot of quail this year, a lot of pheasants as well. So it's really nice to see the direct correlation of our hard work into going into these predators and getting those off the landscape, and to seeing the turkeys and the things we love to hunt becoming more prevalent on the landscape.
We're adding new videos every week, so make sure to click that subscribe button and check out all of our amazing content. This episode of DoD TV is brought to you by DeerCast, the most advanced deer movement predictor ever.